Hey friends, Amanda here at Bare Bones Living. Welcome back to my kitchen. And today I'm going to be making taco seasoning, which my family goes through very quickly. We typically have tacos, if not once a week, then once every other week. So I feel like I'm constantly making taco seasoning. And unlike my chili seasoning, I make a bigger batch, or I'm used to making a bigger batch of taco seasoning. I usually make a cup of taco seasoning at a time. And the recipe that I use, you only need 2 tablespoons of the seasoning per pound of meat that you're using. So by making a cup of seasoning, I could make multiple dinners without having to make another batch. But still, only having a cup is not really sustaining us for a very long time, since we have tacos very frequently. So again, I'm all out. I need to make more, and I'm going to quadruple this recipe. So I have all of my ingredients here. I'm just going to start making it up. And it again starts with chili powder. And as I mentioned in my previous video, this is the hottest chili powder I've ever had. And the recipe calls for a cup of chili powder, which I am just not going to do. I think what I'm going to do, I guess I should have thought about this before. So when I make just the cup of seasoning, it calls for a 1/4 cup of chili powder. And I think we usually use about 1/2 to 1/8 of a teaspoon. So I think I'm gonna do maybe 1 tablespoon, and I'll see how spicy that ends up being. But if you have normal chili powder that is not like so intense that it takes your breath away the second you open it, feel free to use the full cup. Next ingredient, and this is like a special ingredient, is arrowroot powder. And if you're not familiar with arrowroot powder, it's a thickener. Instead of using cornstarch, I use arrowroot powder. You do not have to use this. I think I've been using this recipe for some years now. And I think for probably the first 2 years of using it, I didn't use arrowroot powder. I didn't have arrowroot powder, and I was just trying to make my way through the cornstarch that I had. But once I switched over to arrowroot powder, I was like, well, I have it now. It made fine taco seasoning. What this does is just makes a thicker kind of taco seasoning sauce. So I like it both ways. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't be devastated or anything like that. But I do like that it gets a little thicker and it kind of also kind of holds the meat together a little bit more. So I'm going to be using the arrowroot powder in this batch. And we're going to be doing 8 tablespoons. And it doesn't have a flavor or anything like that. It's much more like cornstarch has like a starchy kind of flavor to it. Arrowroot powder does not. So I actually had to like count that out. So yeah, arrowroot powder does not have any kind of a taste to it or anything like that. It's not gritty. And again, if you're not interested in using it, you do not have to. Totally optional. Next, we're going to be doing cumin. And we're going to be doing 5 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon. We're also going to be doing 5 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of oregano, but I don't currently have oregano in my spice cabinet. And my azure, it's coming in my next azure order, which is coming next week, so I'll have to add that. So another 5 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon. Plus also unsweetened cocoa powder. We are going to be doing again the 5 tablespoons plus 1 teaspoon of the cocoa powder. And the first time I made this recipe, I questioned the cocoa powder. And I don't taste chocolate. I don't know if it adds any sweetness to the seasoning or if it's coloring or what it's for, but I've always made it with the cocoa powder in it. I can't say that I know that there's cocoa powder in it when I eat it. So I'm just gonna stick with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? And then our last thing of 5 and 1 is salt. Then we're gonna do 8 teaspoons of garlic powder. I'm making all sorts of a mess with these measuring spoons clanking together, but whatever. We are running out of room. I think I'm gonna have to switch this over to a quart mason jar. Also 8 teaspoons of onion powder. And you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to get a bigger container now because I know that this is not going to fit. Hopefully I won't make too much of a mess here. So it's getting like a premix. All right, so 8 teaspoons of onion powder. Obviously this is not 8 teaspoons. I have plenty more. This is just what's in my shaker at the moment. And it's getting clumpy, so I wanted to use this before I get fresh stuff out of my bag. I hate when the onion powder clumps up. It's very irritating to me because it doesn't mix well into your recipes that I have found. I don't know if that's just like my weird thing or if other people are the same, but it is quite irritating to me. I think that was 8. Close enough. But yeah, does that bother anybody else, or is it just me? It really irritates me when the onion powder clumps. Black pepper. We're also going to be doing 8 teaspoons. then the cayenne pepper that you guys just saw me make from my homegrown cayenne peppers. Excuse me. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of that. And then lastly, I'm going to be doing 2 teaspoons of ground coriander. And other than the fact that I don't have the oregano in here, this is now complete, which is awesome. And I love how seasonings look when they're all layered before you mix them up. It reminds me of those sand art things. I guess that dates me too, though. But now this is complete. Except for the oregano that I'll need to add once we get that next week. And this will last us a little bit of time, maybe 2 months. More than it has lasted me in the past, that's for sure. But I'm really excited to have this done. Again, you can tweak it to however hot or mild you want it. I shoot for a mild seasoning because I can always add more hot stuff to my meals, but I cannot take the heat away once it's there. So I make mild for my family. And again, like I said, you don't have to use arrowroot powder. That's just an additional thickener. But I really encourage you guys to try making your own seasonings. I mean, like you guys saw, that just took me 10 minutes to make. And look at all the seasoning I have. It's with things that I already have on hand. We didn't use an absorbent amount of any seasonings. And this is going to make my family lots and lots and lots of dinners. And it's going to be something quick and easy that we can go to. And like I said before, it's 2 tablespoons of seasoning per pound of meat that you're using, and a half to a third a cup of water for each pound of meat that you're making. I think that these seasonings taste so much better when they're homemade. You know the ingredients that goes in them. There's no added fillers or anything like that. And I bet you if you did a blind taste test on somebody and you had a store-bought McCormick or even like a Jewel or Walmart brand seasoning packet, and then you had homemade seasonings, if you did a blind taste test with somebody, they would not be able to tell the difference. And they'll probably like this better, honestly. So I really encourage you guys to try making your own seasonings. We have really enjoyed it, and this is just one more thing that I can add to my pantry to give me really amazing meals ready to cook. I just need to thaw the meat. And I'm really excited to have this done. before baby gets here. And thank you guys for coming by today, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you guys for stopping by today and joining in on our journey here at Bare Bones Living. We'll catch you on the next one.